Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into a story that honestly reads like a thriller script. But according to our sources, it's a real and really stunning look at family betrayal, identity fraud, and, maybe the most calculated vengeance plan we've ever come across. Okay, so let's get into it. The core situation involves a woman, Alice. She's 28. Her life gets absolutely turned upside down by her own mother. And the mother does this by framing Alice for cheating, all to protect her own secret affair that had been going on for decades. This is way beyond typical family drama. It's like a masterclass in preemptive destruction.
Yeah, and that preemptive part, that strategic element, that's really what we need to dig into here. We're sort of looking past the raw emotion of the betrayal, intense as it is, and examining the actual tactics. This deep dive, it really follows the methodical steps Alice took. How she exposed her mother and then, well, dismantled her life. It's less about finding resolution and much more about, strategically going after high-stakes revenge against someone who thought they were untouchable.
So it all kicks off with this initial shock for Alice. Her husband, Jasper, he's described as very religious, values loyalty above all else. He suddenly files for divorce, and the evidence he presents, it looks completely solid. Compromising photos, really graphic messages, all meticulously faked to prove Alice cheated.
And the quality of that fake evidence tells you a lot about the mother's mindset. It was cold, calculated. The source even mentions Alice herself admitted, if she were Jasper seeing that, she'd have believed it too, instantly. So this wasn't just some clumsy sabotage attempt. It was like a perfectly engineered narrative designed specifically to provoke the strongest possible reaction from this particular husband.
And Alice knew right away. She knew her mother was behind it. But why go so far? That extreme. Well, the background context helps. The family dynamic. It was already pretty toxic.
Yeah.
The mother apparently showed blatant favoritism towards Alice's younger siblings, made Alice feel like, and this is a direct quote, the child she wished she didn't have. That existing resentment and sort of laid the groundwork,
Absolutely. That toxicity was the backdrop. But the tipping point, the real crisis moment, was when Alice actually discovered the affair. She was visiting home, noticed some odd notifications from M on her mother's phone, and, well, she looked. Found everything. Explicit texts, photos, plans to meet up. And here's a crucial detail for understanding the mother's psychology. The messages included her and her lover actively mocking Alice's father, celebrating that he had no idea.
Wow. Okay, so Alice finds this out. And her first move, she actually tried to do the right thing, sort of. She confronted her mother, gave her 1 week to confess everything to the father. But 5 days later, Alice catches her mother red-handed, lying about where she was, meeting the lover at a motel, proved the mother had zero intention of coming clean.
And that is the pivot point, right there, where it stops being just family drama and becomes, well, tactical warfare. The mother realizes Alice isn't going to just let this go. She can't be silenced easily. So instead of confessing or even trying to negotiate, she goes on the offensive. She launches this, frankly, brilliant but horrifying preemptive strike. Frame Alice first. Ruin her marriage. The goal wasn't just revenge on Alice. It was about destroying her credibility before she could speak.
So she's essentially building a shield. If Alice later accuses the mother of having an affair, the father's immediate reaction would be, oh, she's just lashing out, right? Because she's supposedly guilty of her own affair. Dismiss it as lies born out of guilt.
Exactly. It's textbook projection. Preemptive gaslighting on a grand scale. She sacrificed her daughter's marriage, her happiness, to protect her own decades-long secret. And she banked everything on the father's trust. 30 years of marriage. How could he possibly believe his loyal wife would frame their own daughter? It's just incredibly high-stakes emotional chess, trading one relationship to preserve her own hidden life.
So Alice is now dealing with this nightmare. Her marriage is collapsing because of lies. She confronts her mother directly about the setup, but the mother just doubles down. Right?
Yeah.
Deflection, manipulation, even suggesting Alice might be unstable.
Psychological warfare.
And she's relying entirely on the father's trust, built up over 30 years. You even hear the father's confusion, his doubt. He asks Alice, why? Why would my wife lie about our daughter? It's heartbreaking, really.
And that moment just highlights the power of that long-term trust, that established reputation. Alice's initial proof of the affair, the text she found, it wasn't enough anymore because the mother had so cleverly poisoned the well, cast doubt on Alice's motives. Then, when Alice temporarily moves back home, the mother gets super careful, wipes her phone, covers her tracks meticulously. Alice realized, okay, just exposing the affair, that's too easy for her mother to spin as revenge. She needed something solid, something undeniable.
Yeah, she needed proof that couldn't be manipulated or dismissed. And this is where the story takes a massive turn. Alice acts on this, I guess, deep, awful gut feeling she had about how long this deception might have really been going on. She secretly orders DNA kits, 3 of them, one for herself, one for her 17-year-old brother Jay, and one for her 13-year-old sister Lucy.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't just about proving the affair anymore. This was about finding out if the lies went right to the core of the family itself.
And the results? They delivered exactly that kind of proof. Irrefutable, unspinable. Alice matched her father genetically, no surprise there. But the huge twist, the thing that just escalated this whole situation exponentially, but the 17-year-old brother and the 13-year-old sister were not the father's biological children.
Oh my God.
Yeah, years of systematic paternity fraud.
That's staggering. It's not just cheating on a spouse, it's deceiving your husband into raising 2 children that aren't his for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
The legal implications alone, never mind the emotional devastation.
Absolutely, and that is irrefutable proof. You can argue about texts, you can try to explain away photos, but DNA evidence showing paternity fraud, that's incredibly hard to fight in court. Alice had just shifted gears completely, from trying to get emotional validation to securing the kind of legal weapon needed for, well, total destruction.
Okay, so Alice now has this bombshell DNA proof. But she knows her mother. She knows she's cunning. She'll deny. She'll try to destroy evidence. So Alice comes up with another plan for the actual confrontation, and this part is just pure tactical genius. She uses an old phone, one that was already damaged, as a decoy, puts it out like she's recording on that.
Right.
But her real recorder, a new working phone hidden in her pocket, recording everything secretly.
Such a smart piece of misdirection. She anticipated exactly how a manipulator like her mother would react, knew that high confidence, that need for control, would make the mother want to physically neutralize the perceived threat. The mother would naturally go for the phone she could see.
And that's exactly what played out. Alice confronts her, lays it all out, the affairs, the paternity fraud. The mother panics instantly, demands the phone. Alice hesitates for a second, and the mother snatches the decoy phone, the broken one, and smashes it. Thinks she's destroyed the evidence. Thinks she's won.
And that feeling, that false sense of security, that's what led directly to her downfall, catastrophic self-sabotage. Because she thought she was safe, she just unloaded years of resentment pouring out, and the hidden phone captured every single word. And it wasn't just, oops, yeah, I had an affair, oh no.
No, it was absolutely devastating. The recording caught her admitting she never loved the father, stayed purely for his money, the security. She revealed the siblings were from the long-term affair with the man she claimed she truly loved. And then, the line that just cut so deep, she told Alice, quote, "You were just a reminder of the life she hated."
We really need to pause on that line for a second. That says everything, doesn't it? It explains the deep-seated resentment, the favoritism towards the other kids. Alice wasn't just, collateral damage. She was, in her mother's eyes, a living symbol of the life her mother felt trapped in. It explains the sheer cruelty of framing her earlier. It wasn't really about silencing Alice. It felt more like the mother trying to erase a part of her own past she despised.
It's the ultimate confirmation of that toxic dynamic. So the confrontation ends. Alice gets ready to leave, but not before delivering the final blow. She leaves a flash drive with the full confession recording and the DNA test results right where the father will find them. Alice is upstairs packing, and then she hears it. The emotional explosion downstairs, her dad screaming.
The fallout was instant, completely irreparable. Alice comes down, finds her father just reeling from the truth. Her brother Jay is devastated, Lucy's terrified. Alice confirms it's all true, tells her dad she's leaving. And crucially, she takes the younger siblings out of that house, away from the immediate toxicity. And the father immediately tells the mother to get out. 30 years of marriage, gone. Just like that, based on undeniable proof.
And the legal hammer came down fast and hard on the mother. The father's divorce was quick. And given the scale of the deception, the mother got nothing. Zero support, no spousal, no child support.
And what's really interesting here from a tactical perspective is the father's next move. He didn't just end the marriage, he immediately filed a major lawsuit against the mother specifically for paternity fraud. Now, for our listeners interested in the deep dive angle, winning these cases often means proving something like fraudulent inducement to fatherhood, basically arguing he spent years and significant money raising these 2 children based entirely on her intentional lies.
And clearly, the evidence, the DNA, the confession, was overwhelming. He won, and the outcome was just a complete financial wipeout for the mother. He recovered a huge sum, close to mid-6 figures.
Wow.
Yeah. And the mother, she'd apparently kept her own savings separate, maybe instead of fighting for the house. Well, she lost that entire nest egg to pay the fraud settlement, her financial safety net. Gone.
And that just shows the power of that DNA evidence, doesn't it? It wasn't just about the emotional truth. It turned what could be a messy civil case into a successful claim to get back years of money spent under false pretenses. She didn't just lose the marriage, she lost the financial security she'd built up over decades while she was deceiving him.
Alice also got her own legal wins. Her divorce from Jasper. The judge saw the fake evidence for what it was, found Jasper guilty of trying to pull a scam with fake proof, and fined him. Alice got half the marital assets. Jasper apparently tried to get back together later, but Alice said no. She had the court validation that she was the victim, she was framed.
And then Alice followed up with her own lawsuit against her mother. Sued her for the emotional distress, for ruining her marriage. She won that too, got $25,000. Now, okay, that's smaller than the paternity settlement, but psychologically, huge. It was legal confirmation that her mother was directly responsible for tactically destroying her daughter's life. It wasn't just the father holding her accountable anymore.
But maybe the most, complete part of the vengeance was the mother's total social implosion.
Right.
That lover, the one she truly loved and sacrificed everything for,
Yeah.
he dropped her instantly. Turns out he was a serial cheater himself, had a wife, other partners. She meant nothing to him, apparently.
Oh, wow. The irony.
Right. Then she had to move in with her sister, who eventually kicked her out, too. Called her a leech because she wouldn't get a job.
So, just total isolation. The manipulation engine completely ran out of gas. No husband, no lover, no money, rejected by her own sister, and even her biological kids, Jay and Lucy, completely turned against her. The story mentions the younger sister, Lucy, actually spat on her mother's clothes when she tried to visit. Just total rejection.
And the final image from the source material is just chilling. Alice says she sometimes sees her mother, potentially homeless, sleeping on a park bench near where Alice works. And Alice describes her own feeling now as peace, satisfaction. She compares it to, quote, a Viking resting in Valhalla. She explicitly chose vengeance, not forgiveness. Hashtag tag outro.
So wrapping this up, what does it all really show us? I think this deep dive is a really stark example of how quickly someone who operates purely through manipulation can just completely fall apart when they're finally confronted with hard, undeniable, legally sound evidence. The mother launched this, preemptive strike based on deep psychological issues and resentment. But Alice didn't just react emotionally. She responded with this devastating, multi-pronged counterattack tactical legal that led to the absolute dismantling of her mother's entire life. Finances, relationships, social standing, everything.
Yeah, we really tracked all those layers of deceit, didn't we? From faking texts all the way to decades of paternity fraud, and it all led to this complete annihilation of the manipulator. Which I guess leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. When someone deliberately sets out to ruin your life and you manage to achieve, maximum legal and financial payback, is that justice? Is that enough?
Yeah.
Or is the real satisfaction, the ultimate end game, only found in that personal feeling Alice described, that feeling of Viking rest? Something to think about.